Yeah.
All right, here we are for round 2 of Shadows over Innistrad Remastered Mega Draft, following the Paul G. the Dragon against Damian S. Buttcrack Magic. Both won their first round and tried to make it to that coveted third round and hopefully on to win. We got to see the other side of Paul's deck last game. We couldn't see what he was playing, but we watched his deck go off. Here he keeps 2 planes and he draws a swamp off the top. Never not lucky, they say. Candle Grove Rich coming down. He's going to have a nice curve of 2, 3, 4 coming up. What's Damien looking at?
Well, over here on the Butt Crack Magic side of the board, we have a nice range of spells and a good mix of mana. He's got a couple Defenestrates. He's got a Hero's Downfall. He's got a Dawnheart Rejuvenator, and as we noticed in the deck building section, he's leaning heavily on that unnatural growth. And he's looking to play it, hopefully, on turn 5, which would make all the difference if he starts actually drawing creatures instead of just removal.
So Paul's hand is creature, 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 and then he's got that board wipe again, the Path of Peril. He's got the Gavin the Silversmith, which can come down and put a counter on 2 creatures. Or he can play Eternal Scourge or a Courier Bat. So he has options here. It looks like if he goes to attacks, I don't think he's casting Silversmith. Yeah, he's going to attacks. And yeah, Eternal Scourge is going to be the follow-up.
So this is quite a curve for Damian to try to beat. It's forcing him to use some removal. I don't know if he's actually read what the Scourge says, but this is this might not go the way that Damian thinks it will.
Spell or ability, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't target a Damian. I mean, maybe he wants to.
He's put the Defenestrate back in his hand. He might be going for the softer target. Yeah. There we go. He almost pressed click. He almost clicked yes there, but.
And the life gain off this Rejuvenator is actually pretty helpful for Damian.
So the fixing too, right? Because next turn he can play his unnatural growth. No, wait, he can't. He's down 1 green mana. Costs 4 green mana to play that.
Yeah, that thing's it's heavy.
Wait,
I also don't know how amazing it is on this board. Like I guess it makes the 2/4 big.
I mean, I guess then he's going to start drawing into creatures, right? Hopefully. He's got a Shady Traveler in hand, but it's not doing much. So do you tap out here to play Shady Traveler, or do you Defenestrate? What do you do here? I don't know. He could actually play as Imprisoned in the Moon, which he also has in hand, but that seems like a dramatic play. Not necessarily desirable, but then again, it takes away the flyer.
Yeah, he might be looking at that.
He could be keeping his mana for Hero's Downfall on the flyer just to keep his life total high.
He's really happy
he has
to
good blocks on the ground, right?
Yeah, because now he's going to be able to stop one of these counters from the Silversmith from going on something.
Yeah.
Oh, he lets it go.
What's the consequence of that? Leaving the counter until now?
I mean, he can kill it now, and it's still fine.
Yeah. If you're Damian, are you doubling up and blocking the Morning Patrol? No, you're doubling up on the Scourge. That's interesting.
Yeah, I guess because you keep your Rejuvenator.
Well, the Rejuvenator is not going to die to a 3/4, is it? I mean, for me, getting the 3/4 off the table maybe is better.
It comes back though. That's the other
true.
thing is that it just gets recast.
Yeah.
Now
that's fair.
Paul's hand is the Path to Peril, and he has a Markov Purifier in hand.
Oh, there we go. There's a neater answer to it, right?
Paul, I think, yeah, he just gets, doesn't it? Wants to just flip it. Nothing flips. Okay. Paul had creatures he could have played, so I think he's just trying to make Damian play into the board wipe.
Yeah, and Damian just might, because here comes Havengul Lich, I think, as the next play. He's thinking about it though. He knows maybe he smells a trap, right? It's possible.
He might. And Damian's a pretty good player.
He is.
He does bring the Lich out, which means that the board wipes
whips the Lich out.
drew a defensive straight, so if he wants to just kill the Lich and wait on the wipe, he can.
I
Let's
think
see if
either way, the Lich is going to go right because he can start replaying everything from the
yeah,
graveyard.
yeah. And Paul does just wipe the board.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense, right? I mean, there's no better time to wipe the board than your opponent's got a bomb in play and you've got nothing,
Yep.
right? So you might as well just clean that thing out.
Paul's got creatures and removal still for whatever Damian does next. Another rejuvenator. Damian had
This
four.
this this is a part of Damian's deck that I hadn't really noticed in the deck building section. That it's got so much life gain
Yeah.
that even if he takes an early beating, he's got a lot of survivability. He's also got a Diregraph Scavenger in hand for an extra 2 life.
The Markov Purifier
So,
will. I mean, that is going to start drawing cards.
well, I mean, it could draw the Defenestrate, right? That would be the thing to do, I think,
It goes for the
for Damian here.
Scavenger.
But will he scavenge? Hopefully, not the eternal
Oh,
eternal
don't,
scourge.
don't.
He doesn't want to see another board wipe. He decides.
Yeah, smart play by Damian.
So the Defenestrate is live in hand, and the only other card is the Unnatural Growth.
Paul also
Unnatural
has
Growth is
a
really hard to cast.
Defenestrate. So he could Defenestrate the Scavenger, attack in, and draw a card if he wanted to. Yeah, looks
Well,
like
that's just going to call the Defenestrate out from
Damian.
Damian, because he's not going to want to see that card draw, right?
Well, as soon as Paul goes, he needs to do it before damage, right? Yep.
Not a
so
problem.
He's gonna do it now. Paul has in hand is a Graph Rats, which he's gonna cast.
Well, that's more than Damian has. Damian's just got a dead Unnatural Growth that he can't play. I just actually know it. He just pulled into Merciless Resolve, which might be the answer here.
Even if you can play the Unnatural, it's really not doing much, right?
Yeah.
That Death Toucher is just shutting you down. Although
So
it's
here we go.
pretty good with this. Yeah, okay, now that you've got a mass of creatures.
Yeah, it's looking better now. He really needs to draw into a forest, and then the board is
Well,
activated.
he with the Ulvenwolf Captive, that taps for green mana, right? So that actually does
Oh
help.
yeah, sorry, my bad.
Paul drew the Strength of Wands,
Oh,
which allows him to eat that. It does come back as a 2/2 and will be a 4/4 though once that growth comes down. And Paul's empty hand.
yeah.
He just has a swamp in hand.
Does Damien have the patience to to
No, I mean it's probably you probably want to flip the thing. He gets the 2/2 back. That's fair. Trades with the zombie.
I guess he wants the hobbling zombie off the table before he starts buffing his team.
Yeah, that zombie is kind of a problem.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I mean,
Paul.
either way,
Paul draws
whether
Midnight
it's big,
Scavengers, so he can
what does that do? Oh,
he can meld and he can get back Scourge, Courier
that's
Bat, Markov, Pilfer, and
gross.
draw some more cards. That was a
That's
great
super
draw for
gross.
Paul.
And Damien is just a slave to his rare. This Unnatural Growth has been eating up a slot in his
Yeah.
hand all game, uncastable. And then when it was castable, it wasn't the best thing he could do. So he's just chained to this bad decision he made during the draft, right? Not bad decision, but mana intensive decision, let's say.
So he needs to get it
Uh,
down because it is good on the board. Like it does make his blocks very good, but until he can get it down, it's really just
well,
hurting him, right?
but, I mean, it's slowing him down. And as you say, even if he does manage to double his power, that's not going to stop the hobbling zombie and the life total now. It's looking bad, right? Because what's he going to do against this melded scavengers?
Yep.
Is he going to throw everything in front of it? Is he going
I
to?
mean, even if he throws everything in front of it, he doesn't kill it.
Yeah,
So he takes it all. He goes to
this
3.
is brutal. Oh, drew a swamp.
Again, I mean, he can cast it if he wants to, but is he dead? He's not dead to the zombie hit. The bat doesn't have haste, but it
I
does
mean,
get a creature
that
back.
it's a way of dealing with this melded creature that is a problem, right? So he plays the Unnatural Growth, let's say, but that takes one of his blockers out of the equation because he needs to tap for another green to play it.
Yeah, so it's probably flip the captive, right? You use that to block.
He needs the green mana though to play the Unnatural Growth. When you flip the captive, it turns into colorless mana.
Oh, he decides to go for a natural growth.
Okay, so what this means, I guess, is he has a decent block against the Chittering Host finally, but then
He takes
if he
two,
goes
goes to
that route,
one.
he takes two. Does Paul have anything to finish this up if
Paul's
Damian takes that line?
I mean, he's got the flyer in hand, so Damian needs a way to block flying or to kill it.
Mm.
So he can get Damian down to one, and then the bat will be lethal next turn.
This is stressful. I'm getting stressed for poor Damien here.
I mean,
I know what it's like. I know it's like to pick a pet rare and then stick with it to the very bitter end. I've been here before.
as we were talking about Damian's life gain, though, I mean, if he can find some more of it,
Yeah,
that could be all he needs, right? Because he has a ton of
yeah,
power on his side of the board.
yep. But he needs a flyer desperately. Oh no, bricked.
Bricked,
Drew another swamp.
that's it.
Two swamps in a row finishes him up. Okay, so Damien in that match on his back foot pretty much the whole time. You know, managed to get to parity, I think, at one point, and looked to be stabilizing with his life gain. But that unnatural growth, I mean, if I'm Damien here, I'm thinking that goes to the sideboard, and you're putting in, I mean, because it taunted him that entire game.
And here's Paul with his second win off Midnight Scavengers, Graph Rats Melted, right? Like
And you said you never saw that through the entirety of Shadow's
I
Masters
have
League, right?
myself have never ever melded a creature. Never once. I've watched Paul do it twice now in the Mega Draft, and it looks good.
Well, you're missing it.
It looks very good.
It's delightful. It's delightful.
My one what I wish was different is that the card was twice as big though, like it is in real life when you do it.
Right.
The card
Yeah,
needs to
yeah.
be a giant card, because
Come on, Arena.
Yeah,
Get your act together.
yeah. Show me my
Give us our
giant
giant
card, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But that is part of the appeal, right? Is the aesthetics of it.
Yeah.
You want to be paid off. When you meld a card, you want it to feel epic.
Yeah,
You want it to take up half the play area.
It's supposed to. That's how it was in real life. You had to take the two cards out, you flip them over, you put them together. You go, yeah, I got a
Staple
giant
them
card
together.
now. Yeah, and then your opponent casts one removal spell on it, and you go, well, you 2-for-1 me, thanks a lot.
And you cry.
Yeah, and you're
Your
crying.
tears of regret.
Paul made no changes during sideboard. Ooh, is he going to keep this hand? It's 3 swamps, Gisa, Eternal Scourge, and Anguished Unmaking Morning Patrol. So 3 swamps, 2 white cards. Draws a Sorin off the top.
What we're seeing on the Damien's side here, we're seeing a Havengul Lich, which is kind of stranded due to a lack of blue mana. As you see, there goes the
Heartless Shaman will find that mana, though.
Heart, yeah, is in there. You got Brood, Weaver, Ancient Lumberknot, and Shady Traveler rounding out the hand. So he's got some threats, and he'll start playing them pretty reliably.
Paul draws the
No
planes.
Heart for you.
Yeah, and takes away the Hive. Had to read the card and said, no, I don't think I want that sticking around.
Interesting. So Damien, sensing a removal heavy hand, throws out the Traveler to take the hit instead of Lumberknot.
Paul has a lot of options. He's going with Gisa. He could have played Sorin. He's also got Candlegrove Witch, Morning Patrol, Eternal Scourge, and Circle of Confinement in hand.
This Geese is not going to be long for this world because Damien drew a Defenestrate, but he's not going to play it.
Wow, he has another Hive Heart. Really wants that mana.
I don't know. I think Geese is kill on sight, right? You want to kill that card. I'm not saying I'm the best player in the world, but if I'm Damien, I'm panic hitting that 3 mana to Defenestrate Gisa.
I think Damien's thinking, if I keep missing land drops, I'm going to lose this game anyway. So I need to, I need to hit my lands, right? And Paul is also going to be missing land drops here. He doesn't have a 5th land. He has, he can only cast 1 spell because he has a bunch of white 2-drops, but only 1 planes. Here comes Sorin, making the vampire.
No mirth at all. Absolutely mirthless. Okay, and it's now Defenestrate.
Yeah, now
maybe
Damien's board's coming together. He kills Sorin.
Yeah,
he gets a
that's pretty
land.
good. That's 2 mythics off the board in 1 turn.
And Paul's
So Damien
still
got to be happy about that.
Yeah, Paul's stuck still doing 1 thing a turn unless he can find another white mana. Black mana, I guess, does allow Scourge and a 2-drop.
Oh my god. So Havengal Lich is now unlocked, which means eventually Damian has the potential to get back Gisa on his side of the board.
Ouch. Traveler's going to eat the circle, but there's no 2-drop to follow it up. Again, Paul's mana is just not working with him. He did draw a Midnight Scavengers again, which has been an all-star, but stuck on 2 mana. Does Damian have other lands to grab? Does he have a plains? No.
No. So Highfire has reached the end of its usefulness. It's a 3/5.
I remember playing that card. It's like, do you put in one of each just so you can keep going? Because, it's missed out of value if you're not, but it hurts your mana.
So Damian's ramping here, essentially. Is Paul still stuck on mana?
He's still stuck. He draws a Adamant Will, so a combat trick. He can still only do one thing a turn. He drops the Lone Rider because next turn he can play the Will on it and try to flip it.
Yeah, all of his stuff has got lifelink though, so maybe he's in not such a bad spot.
Yeah,
all things considered.
Depends on how much Damian can push this advantage.
Yeah, I guess if you're Damian, are you flipping a wolf this time, or are you still unloading your hand? Do you get a Havengal Lich? Nope. You play a spider.
Spider. Spider's a good blocker. Paul just keeps drawing white cards with that 1 white mana, so he's still on just 1 thing a turn. He did draw a Flesh Taker, but I don't know, Damian's board's getting more and more out of control.
I mean, all it takes is for Paul to flip Lone Rider, and then the texture of the game changes, considerably.
Yeah, so what Paul probably wants to do is attack with the Flyer. I think you just attack with the Flyer and then you Adamant Will, and you've got Lone Rider on blocks. Now you don't get to block with it. Unless Adamant Will untaps. It may untap. These cards all do different things, and I can't read what it does right now. If it untaps, Paul's fine.
It's difficult.
Yeah. But I would have just attacked with the Flyer that prompts the block on the 2/4, and then you get to eat it with your thing, and then have Lone Rider back on blocks.
I mean, I guess Adamant Will.
Does it untap? No.
If you use it as a defensive trick,
indestructible. So he gets to flip, but now he has no block. Like if Damian could play Growth here, right? Game's just over.
Yeah, cannot.
No, but he does get in for a lot. Gets in for lethal. Yeah. So you needed to have the rides back on blocks.
We weren't following the Lumbernaut's interaction with the spider. It makes the spider into a 4/4.
It made it attack with its toughness.
Yep. Okay, so that's an impressive recovery for Damian. Damian notably still has the Unnatural Growth in hand. Believes in the power of the cards.
Which is funny because when we were going through decks, we looked at Damian's and kind of wrote it off as
we did
as not looking up to power to the other decks, And here we're seeing it go like Paul's. We said Paul's deck looked great. He's got these big bomb rares, and Damian's kind of got all these rejuvenators. And how is he going to make this work? And
to be fair, I guess, right? So Paul, this is only his second top 8, so he might be having a bit of stage fright. Damian is he's a veteran of I think 8 top 8s at this point. Never won a league, so maybe he's fighting hard for the title. Yeah, either way. Sorry?
I said both players have not won yet, so both these players are trying to get their first Mega Draft and League win under their belts.
It's not easy, and obviously these fellows, they're both very capable competitors. They're making each other sweat for the title.
Yep. Paul does no sideboarding. Mulligans into a 1-lander. Looks like we might be going down to 5. He keeps the 1-lander. Oof. I don't know.
Oh.
I think I go to 5.
Was that a misclick or what?
No, I don't think so. He has a Novice Occultist for 2, which when it dies you can draw a card. He hits another land, so he does get to kind of play this game. If he hits one more land, especially a Plains, his hand is Morning Patrol, Borrowed Malevolence, and Hobbling Zombie. So 3 drops and a 1-drop. So one
that's
land.
That's an odd keep on a 1-lander.
1 land and he's going. He doesn't get it, but he's got time.
Maybe it's novice occultist all the way.
I mean,
On Damian's side of the
19
board, what
turns.
we got Damian's got nothing but Witch's Web, Defenestrate. Turn 4, it starts to open up with Hive Heart and Dawn Heart Rejuvenator. So turn 4, things start looking up for Damian.
Paul doesn't draw a land, but does draw the Path to Peril, which might save him if it takes him a while to find these lands. Yeah.
Okay, so Damian also has a Have and Go Lich in hand, so it's important for him to get this Hive Heart in play and go digging for that lone island, right?
Well, he's got the Shipwreck Marsh. He's actually got 2 blue sources already, but yeah, he does still get to get the trigger off of it.
Yes, exactly.
And Paul, again, missing on lands, but he does play a 2-drop that he can play, the Graph Rats, which has been melded more times than I can believe.
More times than you would have thought was credible before this final started happening.
No. And he draws a Plains there.
Lucky. Very lucky.
But he doesn't really have... He does have an Angelic Purge, and he draws a Defensive Straight, so he can answer this Lich.
Yeah, that's lucky.
But it doesn't answer the Hive Heart. Yeah.
Hive Heart has done its business, though, right? It went and got the island that it was supposed to get, and now it's just a 3/5 dude, right? Which is big on this board, but still not the worst threat in the world, right? It's not like, ooh, watch out for the Hive Heart Shaman.
It's not
the terror of no format ever. Right?
Oh wow, Paul's gonna purge the Hive Heart. Sacks the Graph Rats.
What? Why? No.
Maybe.
Did he read the Lich? Did he mouse over the Lich?
He is now.
This is going to be immediately relevant. And this is going to be, I think, if Damian capitalizes on the card advantage that this represents, and why would he not? This is going to be insane. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, that's good value on Damian's side. Swamp off the top, so Paul is 2 turns away from, I guess.
Okay.
With killing the Lich there with the Defensive Straight, he can now Path of Peril the rest of the board for 3.
So he's not out of it yet.
He's not.
The problem is like basically Damian's going to be Dawn Heart rejuvenating 2 turns in a row, so the life total is going to be through the roof.
Those Rejuvenators do die to the 3-mana side of Path to Peril, though.
It's true. If he gets that far, if he lives that long, yeah.
Or is it
to
power?
draw those?
Is it toughness or power? I got this wrong last time.
It's power. Oh right. Jeez. Maybe you're right.
I think it was toughness, and then a lot of Damian stuff actually might live through Path to Peril unless you can fully kick it.
I mean, he's just one. Paul's just 1 turn away from doing that, though, right? To his on his side of things.
He is. I mean, from a 2-land or a 1-land keep, he's on 5 lands now, so he's making a better go of it than a lot of us do when we keep a 1-lander.
Gosh. Okay, so Lumberknot comes out now and makes this absolutely crushing.
Yeah, that's lethal.
Wow.
So Paul just, the 1-land keep, even with the 5 lands and the board wipe in hand, not enough to bring him back. And then we'll see Damian in the final round.
Yeah, baby. Good games, Paul.
Maybe it's his league finally.